you for coming into my live. This is Carla's Way. That's the name of my live. And thank you guys so much for coming into my live today. And happy birthday to Martin Luther King Jr., Happy birthday to him. He paved the way for a lot of us in the US, in the world, you know. He ended segregation. He It's just amazing. Now everyone is coming on to my life from all over, from all different nations, all different colors. So I hope everyone is having a great day, and I hope you're celebrating him because he definitely is a man to be celebrated, for someone to have so much power, and he did it by speaking, he did it by talking, he did it by communication. He did it in a non-violent way to get his word across, to get peace in the US, to get people to listen to him. He didn't have to use any weapons, he didn't have to use any guns, any knives, anything to get what he wanted. And he pretty much wanted all us to be together, integrated, and we are today. There's so many integration in the US, and it's amazing. I think everyone should appreciate him. Everyone should, celebrate him, and it's good. He's the only person who is a non-presidential person who has a holiday for himself, and it's today, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So that alone should be celebrated. I think Black people are getting away from celebrating the great Black heroes of America, but they should not. We should continue to celebrate them, continue to make their names live on forever, because if it wasn't for Martin Luther King Jr., a lot of us would not have, there's a lot of mixed families. You wouldn't have that, you know, because he paved the way for that. Martin Luther King Jr. was a very, very intelligent man. He entered college at the age of 15. How many people do you know enter college at the age of 15? You should know he was intelligent. If he at back then at 15 he was, you know, entering college. And it's very sad that people unalived him based on his movement, because his movement was to help Black people, to help the people. It wasn't to hurt anyone. So for him to not have used any weapons, and then, you know, he was taken out of this earth at the age of 39 years old. That's very young. 39 is very young. In these times we're saying, oh, 70 is young. So imagine someone taking your life away at 39 because you're trying to make a difference, a good difference in the world. But his voice didn't go to waste, because there's so many things that happen based on, his movements, his speeches. So I hope everyone is celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today. I couldn't come on without saying that, because I am a Black woman in America, and America still struggles a lot with racism. I know it's probably is hidden, but there's a lot of struggle with racism in America. And so you have to celebrate the people who paved the way. A lot of people are, trying to shun everything to the side, not talking about the leaders that paved the way, but we should always talk about them, always celebrate them, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to, Martin Luther King, we wouldn't be able to ride in the front of the bus, sit anywhere in the bus. If it wasn't for Martin Luther King, we wouldn't be able to vote. We would not be able to vote. And if it wasn't because of Martin Luther King, there's so much integration. There would not be any integration between Black and whites. His movements and his speeches made a difference in the United States. Now, it made a difference in the way we vote. It made a difference in a lot of ways, you know? So I hope if you're Black that you're celebrating him. These are some of the things that Martin Luther helped. Some of the things. Sorry, guys, my live just froze up. I don't know what happened. But I can remove myself and you guys can see some of the things that Martin Luther um, paved the way for in the United States. You know, some of the things, his I Have a Dream speech is very iconic. To this day, we're listening to this speech in schools, you know, from our kids. I went to elementary school in the 90s, and in 2026, my kids are still learning about the I Have a Dream speech. So these are some of the things that Martin Luther helped, you know. So his way of making a change was very nonviolent, and he inspired people to have peaceful protests, to be committed to protesting peacefully, you know. And there's a lot of people who are doing it. They're protesting peacefully in these times. And I feel like people should really look at how Martin Luther tried to make a change. They should try to protest peacefully. Try to make a change peacefully. You know, you don't have to be violent in everything that you do. He increased black voter participation through voter registration drives and empowerment efforts to help. He helped boost black political engagement. Okay, so I know that since the years have gone by, a lot of us forget the leaders ahead or the leaders from the past and how influential they are. But this man was a very influential man. I don't think anyone stands, you know, I don't think anyone, you know, paved the way like he did. We have a lot of people, but he was very, very inspirational. And the fact that he went to college at 15, that should inspire a lot of our youths today. Look at this man, he went to college at 15. And it's just very, you know, it's very sad that he was assassinated because of his freedom of speech. He did nothing not violent and he still got assassinated. So I'm happy that he was able to make some of these changes, and he made the US a better place for black people. You know, we're free in some sense, we are. So I hope you guys are celebrating today and, you know, and really celebrating Dr. King today. Okay, so I'll take this background off. So, one thing that I really liked about his I Have a Dream speech, do you see that? I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self evident that all men are created equal. And I feel like that's something that we all need to look at. We're all equal, we're all created equal. No one is better than anyone, no one is up here versus down here, you know? And we need to still take that message and try to live that message today, because there's still a lot of inequality in 2026. So we're still trying to, you know, try to take that message and embed it in your hearts and minds and teach your children, teach your family members, help people around you to let them accept people for who they are. We're all equal. No one is better than the next person. It doesn't matter what you have, what the color of your skin is. It doesn't matter what your assets are, what clothes you wear. We're all one people. We're all created equally. And he taught that message, you know? I have a dream that one day, I have a dream that my four children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream. So that's I preach that message all the time. When he spoke it very well. You know, you judge people, you really, we're not supposed to judge, but you treat people based on their character, how they treat you. You don't look at someone how they dress or the color of their skin and you automatically judge that person to say that person is a bad person, or that person will do something bad based on the color of their skin. You judge them based on their character. You get to know people, and then you assess whether you want that person in your life or not. You get to know people and you interview them to let them know whether you want to employ them with your company or not. We don't judge people by the color, but we judge them by their character, by the character of their skin. So I love these speeches. I love this speech. This is one of my favorite speech of all time because it's speaking the truth, and it's teaching us how to treat people with respect and dignity based on their differences. Someone doesn't have to look like you for you to treat them with respect. Someone doesn't have to look like you for them to be able to do the same things you do. You have to treat people how you want to be treated. So, based on someone's skin color, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. So, we should treat people how we would like to be treated, and everyone should have the same rights. His message were very powerful, and he taught non-violence way of getting his point across, and so that's why I admire him. He was for the people, and he wanted right for his people, and to this day he have made a great he we celebrate him. Like I said, guys, he is the only person that's a non-president that have a holiday where we have off in the US. You know, he was never a president, but we are able to celebrate his birthday and have a day off where we can relax and unwind. But when you're relaxing and unwind, make sure you research him, learn about him, and don't forget what he did for the country. Don't forget what he did for the black people. Don't forget all the messages that he was trying to send. And that in 2026, we're seeing a lot of injustice in 2026 amongst black people, amongst black boys, especially with the cops and with a lot of things amongst people who are not like us. If they don't look like you. Lots of injustice. People are just taking out their weapons and doing whatever they want to people in the US. So I wish we could revert back and go back to his speeches, read his messages, follow his teachings, and we can be a better nation, a better country. You know, we can rise up peacefully to make a change. He spoke peacefully, he marched peacefully, and he made change. He made a change. It's a shame that him and his mom were assassinated for their teachings. But guys, in these times, please, please try to follow what Martin Luther King was teaching, and also do the right thing. Do the right thing. Because of Martin Luther King, I'm able to come on YouTube and talk to people from all over, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, everyone. Everyone, we talk and we treat each other with respect, because you know what? We're all equal. No one is equal. You can make $1 million. I can make what, 20,000. You're no better than me, you know. You're no better than me. If someone makes 20,000 versus a million versus a billion, we're all the same. You know, if you're a Muslim and I'm a Christian, we're all the same. If you're a Jew, we're all the same people. We just practice different religions. It does not mean we're different and we're supposed to be hurt because we have different point of views and we practice different religions, you know? So I just hope you guys are really taking in today and how it's paved the way for many black Americans. And a lot of people who are not black follow his speeches because his messages were real and they were teaching people how to coexist together without being violent towards each other. So, because of his speeches, he was jailed over 29 times. And before he actually got assassinated, he survived an assassination, you know? So he went through a lot. He went through a lot to try to make a change for our country, and he did not do it in a violent way. People were violent towards him, but he did not do anything in a violent way. So he is a great leader. If you're trying to be a leader and you're trying to rule a country, follow Martin Luther King, follow his messages, follow his teachings, you know? And guys, that's pretty much why I came on here, just so that we can celebrate the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So here are things, some things about Martin. So, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I'm sorry. So he was jailed 29 times. He was arrested for frequently for civil disobedience, facing numerous jailings due to his activism. He was Prize, the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner at the age of 35 years old. And look at that. It's so sad. His mother was also assassinated at a church. At a church. And he was a gifted student. He skipped grades and entered Morehouse College at age 15, earning a PhD from Boston University. Can you guys believe that? This was a very educated man. A very educated man that only spoke positivity, only tried to help the black people, only tried to help the US because segregation was not a good thing for the USA. You know, he's the only one with a national holiday that's not a president of the United States. He was born Michael King Jordan. I'm sorry, Michael King Jr. But his father changed both their names after he was inspired by a German reformer. See? A German reformer. You know? He was destined for greatness. And he did. He did a wonderful thing for the nation. He did. Most of his dreams and wishes came through, but today we're still struggling a bit. But I hope the US can revert back to his messages from the I Have a Dream, you know? And he had the famous march on Washington speech. So guys, those are some of the things I wanted you to look at. And what do you guys think about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? What do you guys think about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? You know? What do you guys think about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? I'm sorry, that did not come off there. It's not proper, but you're not really seeing that well. You know, you're not seeing that well. He was a great man. I don't think he's celebrated enough, but I think we should be doing more for the leaders who made a difference in our country. Make a difference. You know, we do so much for these rappers and these actresses and actors, but we're not doing the big celebrations. They have all these awards for the actresses, the actors, but they should be having awards for people who are no longer here, like Martin Luther King. He made such a difference and he went through so much just to make a difference in this country. He had so much backing, you know? He did it with a lot of adversity, and he didn't cause any violence. He didn't retaliate. He didn't fight back. The only way he fought back was with his speeches, with his weapons. His mouth was his weapon, not his physical, not actual physical violence, but his mouth. He spoke to make a difference. And that's what the leaders in these times need to do. You can try to do things peacefully. Stop trying to fight war. It's all war with these weapons, all about killing lives and getting rid of humanity. You don't have to do that to make a change. You don't have to do that to make things better. You do not have to fight by getting rid of it. Look at what's happening in Iran and Russia. Not Iran and Russia, Ukraine and Russia. So they're not caring that the innocent babies are losing their lives. You know, the innocent babies are no longer, they're losing their lives. So Martin was preaching that you can get along. You can sign a peace treaty, but do it by speaking about it. You don't have to do it by being violent. You don't have to do things by being violent. You can do things by be a leader by being nonviolent. Be a leader by being nonviolent. You know, to go through that, and he didn't give up. He kept going. To go through all of that, you know, being stabbed so many times, and he did not give up. He kept going. He was jailed 29 times for speaking, for just speaking, just for being an activist for, you know, civil rights, for the rights of the people. You know, and I know a lot of people in 2026, they're the same thing is happening to them. So a lot of things have changed due to Martin Luther King Jr. And there's still a lot of things, there's a lot of things that we need to be changed, you know. But he was a very brilliant man, and he was a very adamant man. He knew what he wanted, and he did not stop. He kept going because he knew there was an injustice towards African American people in America, and he wanted a change. And he did get a change. He did get a change. Some things were changed. There are some of the changes. There are some of the changes, guys. I have to get. You know, Martin was such a great speaker. I could listen to him for hours and hours because he just had it in him. You know, that was definitely his calling. But it's a shame that he's no longer here today, you know, but he was a very great speaker, and he's an inspiration to me. I'm sure he's an inspiration to others. But happy birthday, Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you for everything that you did for the country. You know, I'm not from the US, but I came here as a, immigrant. But he did a lot for the country, and what he did helped me as well, helped a lot of black people in America. So kudos to him. Hi, hi guys. Just some of the quotes. These things are not come. I can't get his quotes down. I wish I could get it smaller. Let's see if we. Okay, that quote I like. Our lives to begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter to us. You know, you don't. And that was one of his favorite quote. Don't ever become silent to the things that matter to you the most. You have to speak up. And that's why the world is the way it is today, because a lot of us are silent when things are bothering them. We're the people, we have to make a change. Okay, maybe you can see that quote a little bit better. And guys, it's so hard for me to, even though Michael, why am I saying Michael? Michael is stuck in my head. His name was Michael, but then he changed it to Martin. Even though Martin Luther King Jr. was such an inspiration, sometimes it makes me sad that he's not here, because we need more people like him today, because there's a lot of injustices here that needs to be, people are silent about the things that are going on, and we cannot be silent, because if you are silent with injustice, how will there be a change? There will never be a change. People are still protesting up today in 2026. I've seen so many protests in 2026, and they're doing it in nonviolent ways, because that's what was the teaching of Martin Luther King Jr. You can protest, you can speak, but you have to do it in a nonviolent way. You have to speak up for what's bothering you, what's bothering the nation. A lot of people are just living like everything is okay, and it probably is in their head. But do you see what's happening in the world or in the US? We have to speak up. We have to make a change. We have to, you know, we have to be a part of the movement to change the world, because we have the younger generations that are coming in that will be affected by what's going on today in the world. So that quote, whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And that is very true. Once one nation or one set of people is affected, we're all affected. You can't just sit in your house and say, "Oh, my family's fine," or "my kids are fine." But no, we're all affected. Once we're in this country or in the world, once you're living and alive, you're affected by what's the injustices that are happening today. So I'm not trying to make this live very heavy. I just want us to know that everything that Martin Luther King Jr. did today, back then, is affecting us today, and it's paved a lot of ways for today. And I just want us to, celebrate his birthday, be grateful and thankful that he paved the way for us today. Okay? Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. And that's true. Some people, they think they are on top of the world, but how can you be happy on top of the world when someone in your family or your friends group or the nation, people are suffering? I always talk about homelessness, how there's so many homeless in America. How can we sit in our homes, we're happy, we're warm, and then we're not affected by that? It doesn't trigger you, it doesn't make you feel some sort of way that there are people out there suffering. I know you can't be completely sad, but you should be, affected. We can't just go on and living in la la land like this is not a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem for the world. It's a problem for the people. How can we not be affected by the way our black men are treated by cops in today's society? We have to be affected. We have to speak about it. It's injustice. These are things that it's maybe you feel like it's not directly related to you, but it definitely is directly related to you. Whatever happens in the US, whatever injustice happens, everyone is related. And we'll see that as the times goes on with everything that's going on in the USA. So I hope everyone stays strong, and hope you guys are, listening to everything that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. taught us, what he did for the nation. Celebrate today, celebrate this day. It's he stood for something great, and because of that we're able to celebrate him today, because he stood for something great. He went through a lot of trials and tribulations to get the rights that we have today. One man and all his followings went through a lot of trials and tribulations. Now we sit in our couches, we can go to any restaurant, we can be segregated and we feel okay. But we have to remember our past. Our past we should never forget where we came from. Don't ever forget who paved the way for you. Don't ever forget who fought. Don't ever forget who went through sweat, blood, and tears to make a lot of us free today. And that's what I wanted to say. Don't forget what Martin Luther King Jr. did. You know, all the tragedies and everything that are happening to good people, not bad people, good people that are suffering in the US, the innocent that are still suffering in the US, you know, good people that are still suffering. Just know that he fought for that. He fought, and we should continue fighting. He fought to make it not an injustice. He fought to make it better. We should continue to fight to make it better. You know, we should continue to fight to make it better. Right. He fought for us. He fought with his mouth. He protested, and because of his messages, they were so powerful, people did not like it. So they took him out. So, but he fought for peace. He fought for justice. He was a very brilliant man. At 15 years old, he went to college. A lot of kids can't even make it to college in these times at 15 years old. A lot of kids are not doing what he was doing. He made a way for black people in America. So he should be celebrated. He should be celebrated. We should celebrate it. Hi, honey, how are you? We should celebrate him. So remember his name. Continue to teach it in school. Continue to teach it. I felt so good when my employer read a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. at a team meeting. It was just amazing, you know, because I live in a majority Caucasian state. So it was amazing. It brought tears to my eyes. I just felt so good because Michael Jordan, why do I keep calling him Michael Jordan? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. just paved a way, and all his messages were positive messages, and we should follow his teachings. We should follow his movements. We should follow his messages because he was teaching good. He was not teaching bad. Right. He was not, maybe because his original name was Michael. He was not teaching us bad. He was teaching us good, you know? So it's it's just good that he was it's good that he was paving the way. He paved the way for a lot of things that are happening for us today. So even if you have kids, they're integrated. I'm sorry, they're integrated with their students. A lot of them don't understand what we went through in the 90s. A lot of them are not going through that. A lot of them are oblivious. They're clueless about what their parents went through, their grandparents went through. So you have to teach them. Don't hide the past from our children. Let them know what happened in the past. It will make for a better future. Because, yes, in America, the blacks are still dealing with injustice after everything that Martin Luther King Jr. went through. After everything, after everything, this is serious, but you guys are trying to make me laugh. But I'm being very serious here about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm being very serious about Dr. Martin Luther King because it's his birthday and we should celebrate it. You know, I know a lot of us have no clue because we haven't dealt with injustice. We're just living free. But there's people around us that's dealing with it. You see that quote there? Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And that really is a true quote. We can't just live peacefully and think, oh, it's all gravy, it's all great. But people around us are being affected, and I don't mean to have a heavy conversation, but it's pretty much what it is in the United States, you know? Okay, thank you. But people are affected. They're affected. We're talking about Martin Luther King here. I think in the quote, this one about, I don't know, you guys, I can't even point. If I said, okay, I'm going to hide my face because I'm not supposed to laugh today. So his quote, life most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? So think about yourself, you know. Levi, you say you're the king of Jamaica. What are you doing to help others around you? Are you helping others have a better life? Are you helping all the injustices? Everyone that's around, are you helping them? How are you making a change in your community? How are you giving back? How are you helping the injustices of the world? I know we all feel, some people feel like, oh, we're just a little nobody in our towns, or we're a little nobody wherever we are. But make sure you volunteer. Make sure you know, you can go to the courthouses, you can go anywhere, get to know people at your city hall. You know, that's how I get to know people. I know the mayor of my town, you know. You get to know people, and then you inquire, you research. That's how you get to know. They don't have to know everything about you, but you can definitely research and get to know them. How can you help your town? How can you help the youth? How can you help the kids, the brown and black kids that are coming up? How can you help them to be better? Life most persistent and urgent. What are you doing for others? And we have to ask ourselves that every day. What are we doing for others? How are we helping the people around us? How are we stopping injustice? How are we helping America? Because America will be a better place if we help each other. America will be a better place if we treat our brothers and sisters equally. America will be a better place if we stop looking down on others because they're not like us. America will be a better place if we stop uh, being so violent to each other. We can be friends, not friends, but we can be cordial to each other. We can have freedom of speech. I know words cut very deep, but you don't have to react to every word someone says. Martin Luther King was a very nonviolent individual. We need to follow his ways, follow his teachings to help America be great again. Levi, I feel like Baltimore, there's a lot of injustice amongst black people in Baltimore, so I don't understand what you're saying. Okay, but whether so he mentioned before, if there, the quote that I mentioned before, if other people are being affected, then we're all affected. Racism is everywhere. I don't think it's just in the South. It's in the North, it's in the East, it's in the West. Black people are treated less than in every state. Yes, some states is not more present or evident because they hide it. They're hiding it, you know? So we don't see it much because they're hiding it. Like in my state, yeah, they hide it. We can't see it, but you can definitely feel in some cases that there is racism. You can feel it even if they're hiding it, you know? I haven't really experienced much, but you can tell, like, if you work at a corporation, a big corporation, then you see who is getting promoted more, who is getting, you're doing the same amount of work as those individuals and they're getting promoted more. So racism still exists in 2026. It still exists. That's why they have diversity and inclusion, so that those things can't happen. It started from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., so it has trickled down to today. And Levi, that's the problem. You can't just worry about you and yours. Yes, we should always make our family, you know, grow our family, make them better. But your family will be affected if the rest of the black community is affected as well, and that's the case in the black community. They think, oh, I'm okay, but you look around the corner and the rest of your brothers and sisters are not okay. A lot of them are homeless. A lot of them are, you know, needing help. A lot of them are not getting the education that they need. We have to help them. We have to push them along the way. We have to try to get facilities to help them. Try to, you know, we have to help them. You have to help your fellow black people to get better. You have to help others, to lift them, to rise up. You have to rise them up. And that's the problem in America. That's the problem in America. We say we're okay, and then we see, I'm not happy if if we want to, we can, Levi. If we want to come together as black people, we can. People are still doing marches. They still have black groups, they still have black professionals that meet. They still have a lot of black groups or black clubs that black people are part of. But it's just up to the individual. I think some people don't want to be bothered and they don't have time for the mess. They just want to live their life peacefully with their families. And I get that. I get that, Levi. I get that. Some people aren't activists. Some people are not fighting for the cause. People are just, I think a lot of people in America, they're oblivious. A lot of black people are oblivious. They get money, they get rich, they move into, these neighborhoods, and they just forget about their people. I will, no matter how I act, how I sound, whether I speak articulate. A lot of people always say, oh, Carla, you don't sound like you're a black person. I sound like I'm a Caucasian person. And I think I sound like Carla, right? I always say that. But I always preach, and I'm not racist because I live in a I live in a mixed state, but I'm very much for the black people. I'm raising black sons. I'm from a black mother and father. I see the injustices sometimes amongst peers, amongst the people around me. So I have to stand up for them. I can't say, of course I'm friends with everyone. I'll talk to people, but if I see a injustice against a black person, I have to speak up. I can't just be silent and say, "Oh, I'm okay. Me and my family are okay." That's not right to say that I'm happy that you and your family are okay. But what about your brothers and sisters' family? The people and I'm not talking about blood related, but your brothers and sisters. We all should be okay. We all should be doing well. We all should have our houses. We all should be educated. We all should be doing well. So I know a lot of us don't want to, but that's what the leaders of before fought for. That's what Martin Luther King fought for. That's what that's why he did those marches and speeches, I'm sorry, so that we can have equality, so we can all be equal in this country. And he's paved a good way. We have a lot of equality. There's a lot of black professionals, a lot of, look, we had a black President Obama. He paved the way. He definitely paved the way. Right, Levi. So I hate that. I think people see your color and they just expect you to act a certain way. So that's in our community a lot. They expect you to speak and talk a certain way, and certain we're not all the same. But I was raised in a very mixed community, mixed town. I was raised in a mixed town, so I was raised with people that looked like me and people that didn't look like me, and it's fine. And so that's why, you know, I just think we all should be equal. We should all live as one. What are we doing for others? How are we helping others? And I meet a lot of professionals who are, black. Black people serve everyone. We don't just serve ourselves. But when you are helping, my friend, he is a realtor and he helped a lot of black people, get houses and stuff. So it's you're helping your community, you're helping people. We're stereotyped, we're looked at differently, like we can't go above and beyond. We don't have the brains or the wits. We're very much judged based on the color of our skin still in 2026. And that shouldn't be the way. You see, Dr. Martin was preaching that way back then from the 1964s. And look, we're still judged by the color of our skin. We're still judged by our skin and not our character. They'll look at you and think you act a certain way, think you'll react a certain way if they treat you a certain way. But that has to be stopped. Stop judging people based on their skin. You get to know people. Everyone has bad temperament and everyone has good temperament in different communities. You know, white people have bad attitudes, black people have bad attitudes. It depends on the person, not just because of their skin. Asian people, Spanish people, everyone is different. Right. Right. I see humans. We're all the same people. I don't see color. And in 2026, I don't understand why people are so fixated on color. We know that we're a melting pot in the United States. We're a melting pot all over the world. People of all different colors exist. Social media have shown you or let you see that there's people from different colors, people that look differently. I know a lot of people didn't grow up seeing different races and different religions, but social media have is throwing it in our faces. So there shouldn't be any racist in 2026. Accept people for who they are, accept people for their differences, accept people to be free. And that's what Martin was teaching. Dr. Martin Luther King was teaching. Accept people for who they are, allow them to be free. He paved the way for segregation. Was it a good thing? Do you guys think segregation integration is a good thing? Comment below and let me know. Do you think integration is a good thing for the nation? I know some people back then, if a certain black people moved into a neighborhood, they would kick them, they would move out of the neighborhoods, you know? But everyone should be able to live where they want to live. I think the North kind of deal with that too, but it's kind of subtle, It's very subtle. It's hidden because I know people from the South and they spoke about racism in the South. So racism in the South, they said, is very blatant. It's in your face, you can see it. But up north, like I tell you, I live in Connecticut, so up north they hide it. You won't see it in they hide it, like Connecticut, New York. They'll hide it. But I feel like America have a lot of different cultures now, so it's probably not much of a thing. It's probably more of the people who are not immigrants or the people who were born here, their families are like from here, maybe the KKK families, people like that. But it's a melting pot. I personally don't see it often, but they do have people who are very rude, and you can tell that they are based on how they may treat you at a restaurant or just their demeanor. You can tell, where no one is stupid, but it exists. We can't say it doesn't exist, Levi. It does exist, and that's the problem with, even you can tell on TV if you watch the cop show how our brothers and sisters are treated by the cops because of the color of their skin. A lot of people won't call the cops because they don't know what's going to happen because of the color of their skin. So, what am I capping about? There's just there's still a lot of injustice in 2026. Trust me, Levi. There's still a lot of injustice in 2026. Do you think the cop thing with the cop treating our people differently is going to change? I don't think that's going to change, Levi. That's not going to change. And to me, that's a form of racism, to judge someone by their skin and not by their character. Some people don't do anything with a cop, Levi. Watch the cop show. Sometimes people don't do anything. It's just the cops. It's the cops' demeanor. They just look at your color and they don't like you. Now, I had a friend who was a cop, and she's a black cop, a black cop. She is fairer skin, but she's black. She's black. So she was taught that there were supposed certain things they have to do to black people versus the other cultures, and she didn't like that. I have cops that I know that are very cool. They're black, they're white. I'm not saying cops are not good people. I'm just saying the ones that are bad cops. And they actually teach them in the academy to treat black people differently. I was told this firsthand from a cop. She's no longer a cop, she's an ex cop, you know? Is something I was told. It's not, I didn't make this up. And I watch interviews about on cops about there also was taught that. I heard it on TV. I forgot. I believe I was watching the cop show. They have a lot of the shows on YouTube. If you go on and research it, you'll find out. I'm not lying. But I'm not saying they're not bad ones or good ones. They do have good cops and bad cops. Well, I'm very happy that you don't experience racism, you know? I don't experience it to the extent, like extremely like you're thinking. I'm just saying some people might know. I don't experience it the way like you think, based how you see on TV. No, I don't. But I know people who experience it, and I've seen people who act weird, like act differently towards people because they're black. Yes, they do. And it's only in the US. When I go into other nations, they don't act that way towards black. We're treated like, they look at us like we're kings and queens. So it's only in the United States because, right, Levi. And just because it didn't happen to you, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen to other people. But I do get your point of view. I do get your point of view, you know? Um, I don't know because I'm a very calm person and I try to avoid trouble. I have to ask black women if they ever experienced that. I know my friend who's a cop, she's kind of like a rowdy person. Her personality is very different than mine. She's an ex-cop. She has a more, you can't approach her because she will pop off. Like she has that type of personality. But I don't know anyone because of the people who are I hang around, they're pretty decent people, so they wouldn't be caught up with the cops. So we're not that type of people, and I've never known anyone who said they were, mistreated as a woman by a cop. Most of the time, if I ever got pulled over by a cop, it would be rolling at a stop sign, or if I was speeding. They were never mean to me. No, I was never treated badly by a cop, any color, but then again, I, right, I don't really know. I hope not. Right. Maybe it's people's demeanor, Levi. Maybe. But I still feel like, cops have an authority. They're the ruler and the leader of the road. So they should also know how to handle themselves. They are what? They deal with people, right? They're supposed to understand people's temperament and people's attitude because that's how they're trained to protect the citizens, to protect the people. So they should never stoop down to the person's level. They could arrest them right away. They don't have to beat people up the way they do, or the things that I see how a lot of them jump on these guys. One guy to about five or six cops, that's just, to me, it's inhumane. That's not how you treat a person. Yes, you may think that person is a criminal or did this or that, but still, it's one person against five or six cops. A lot of people have lost their lives that way. Okay, how will I change the world? Hopefully, by speaking positive messages, I can change the world. By speaking positive message, trying to bring light into people, trying to teach them that you can approach the world differently. And I see it in my everyday life. Everyone go through things differently, and some people, they're very angry based on their experiences and based on what life has, like the things they've been through in life. But you can't always be angry at what life brings you. You have to learn how to, you know, counter attack, it should say. You have to learn how to handle tough situations. You can't let it bring you down. And a lot of people have made tough situations just take them to another level. I wasn't born in the US, no, but I pretty much grew up here. I came here as a younger person, about 9 years old. I came at 9 years old, so I've pretty much Americanized, as they would call it. So, Mark Gabriel. Hi, how are you? I'm doing good. Just talking about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today. I'm trying to find some good quotes. Okay, so you see what Martin is saying here. He's saying our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. So, with that being said, with the cops issue, it's a thing that matter. It matters if our people or being targeted or being attacked by the cops. It should matter to all black people, whether or not it's not affecting you or your family. But if you watch it and it's people of your color, how do you feel? How do you feel? Will you be silent about it? Levi, I think they will. It depends on the teaching of the person. You not every black Americans hate Jamaicans. So my friend who is he's a male, he's a black American male. I have friends who are black Americans, so I may see that some of them will make comments that I don't like about Jamaicans, and others they accept Jamaicans because they actually love the Caribbean culture. So some black Americans may not like me speaking or may not like a Jamaican because they look down upon the Jamaican culture. And like Martin is saying, we're all one people, so it's just we're all one black people. So you should not be looking down on someone because they're born in another country. They're just as educated. The educational system in Jamaica is better than the US. I came to the US when I was 9 years old. I think I came in February and I did not complete the fourth grade. So when August came around, I went straight to the fifth grade. So I did not have to complete or redo anything. So the Jamaican school system is very much better. They learn ahead of time. It's a better educational system than up here. So I think they should definitely listen to the Jamaican if the person is articulate and intelligent, if they're actually they know what they're saying and they know what they're doing, but some people are very closed-minded. A lot of Americans, especially the ones from the hood, they don't leave the hood. They don't know anything about anyone outside of their culture, so or their neighborhood. So you have to be open-minded about you have to be open-minded. And I think a lot of people are not open-minded. But when you're an immigrant that comes into the US, you have a more open mind and you accept others for who they are because you know that you're different and you understand that other people are different too. Yes, I may look black, but I am Jamaican, and when I entered the country, I felt different. So I always felt different in America, even though now I'm very much Americanized, but I had to get adjusted. And I had to get adjusted when I went to school out of state and met different individuals with different temperament from my state. I had to get adjusted, you know? So in life, as you grow older, you have to get adjusted to other people, and just because someone is in America, it doesn't mean that they're smarter than someone from another country. There are people from other countries who are very articulate, very intelligent because they educate themselves on information and they're able to teach it to you, and the internet is so wide open. Anyone can learn anything from any country. You just have to research. You just have to research. So don't look at what Martin taught. Don't look down on anyone. He said we're all equal, and we are. Don't look down on people because of how they look, their educational background, what country they're from, how they were raised, whether they're from a single parent home, a two-parent home, whether they were raised with their grandmothers, grandfathers. Don't do that. So that's what I hope to touch someone here on YouTube, just to speak. Get rid of injustice. Get rid of inequality. Get rid of trying to make your brothers and sisters feel less than. try to make everyone feel, good. And that's just me as a person. That's me in reality. And that's me in real life. I try to make people feel equal, and I try to treat people how I would want to be treated. Was I bullied? No. I was never bullied. I was not bullied because I'm from a very big family. So if they bullied me, there were people there who would definitely I'm from a very big family, and we all were around the same age. Like my sister, my cousins, we all went to the same school. So I was not bullied. I don't know, I was not bullied as a child. Fifth grade, I don't even remember fifth grade. I just remember being different because I had an accent and I had to get used to other people, you know? It was very different. As a child, it's very different. But that was a long, long time ago. I made it through. So, and that's the thing with the way Martin Luther is teaching. I had to come into a country and be integrated and learn their new rules as a young child. So we're all equal. I was not treated any different, you know? We were all equal, guys. So, and thank you for asking that. And I should have a story time on that as well about how, or that should be the topic about how immigrants feel while coming. And as a child, it's different than when you're an adult, right? We're all human, and that's what people should know. Good morning, Mr. Plumtree and family. How are you guys? How is everyone? So I hope you guys are celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, because that's what we were talking about. But we picked on other topics that's related to Dr. Martin Luther King. Do you guys think he was a great leader or great teacher? I can't tell us. Guys, don't forget to like my live when you enter the channel. The more you guys like my live, then the more I can get monetized, and then maybe we'll have a private members only, but no private chat only. I don't have a story now from when I entered the country, but I just remember that I felt out of place due to the fact that I spoke differently, and things that Jamaicans say I had to get used to, because Jamaicans say the number three, we call it tree. We call it tree, and I was saying that in when I entered and was in the classrooms. Just a lot of things were different that I had to get used to. Remember, I was from Jamaica. There was no white people in my class. In Jamaica, it was all black. And then when I came to Connecticut, it was a very diverse. So I had to get used to that as well. My teacher was a white lady. She was white, and then I had white kids in my class. So I remember that was different for me. Besides the language and the different colors, nothing else was really different. Levi, you're too much. So that was the thing. That was the thing. And so that's what my Martin Luther King Jr. teaches us. He teaches us that we should integrate and treat each other with respect and dignity, and no one is, we're all humans and we're all the same. So I hope we followed this message in our daily lives. You treat people with respect and dignity and treat them with integrity, and we're all the same. Don't think that you're ever above anyone or that people are below you because they're not from your country or not from your neighborhood, or they don't look the way you do, they don't talk the way you do. Don't disrespect people for being different. You would be surprised how different how people are. Just if you have a conversation with them, they're as friendlier, they're, their experience is as intriguing as your experience. So don't underestimate humans. So when I was in college, I was young, maybe 18, 19, and I went to school out of state, and I had to take the train a lot. Imagine being, I went to college with no family. None of my family's 4 hours away from home. And I used to take the train back home sometimes, and the Amtrak. So I used to get a lot of different people that would talk to me. Now, remember, I'm a young girl, 18, 19, 20. And these strangers used to come up to me and just sit next to me and tell me their entire life stories. And I would be intrigued. I would listen and they would talk to me the whole time. Sometimes I didn't like it because they were telling me too much information that I didn't need to know as a young child, young 19, 20 young adult. So that's the thing about accepting people for who they are. I accepted those people, listened to the stories, and it was very intriguing. You meet people, they may seem a little awkward, quirky, weird, but you have to get to know them. Not get to know them, but accept them for who they are. I think the black culture is not as bad as people think our black culture is. We just have to learn to love each other and accept each other for who we are. We can't just think monetary money. It's a lot of black people become really bougie based on the money they have, and they look down on others, but we can't let that be the end all be all. It's based on your character. I've been this way forever, Levi, with talking. But I talk a lot to who I know, but sometimes I guess I have a very welcoming personality. So I normally meet people wherever I go, and they normally tell me their entire life stories. I guess some of us have that type of personality where people, um, maybe I have a trusting look or something in real life, because that's always been the same for me wherever I go. So some people just have that. But I don't talk to everyone anymore. I do have discernment, because you have to be safe with where you go. You have to be safe with these times. People are not, that safe and secure. Hi, Godspeed. Welcome back. You have to be safe and secure with who you talk to and where you go. And in these times, I don't really travel alone. I always need a wingman, or I'm the wingman. I try to travel with either one person or a group. Remember, I said people spoke to me, so they're telling me their life story. So it's, I wasn't telling you my life story, I was listening to you talk. But it's okay. You see, you're judging me based on my character. Some of us are talkers, we have to express ourselves. But I do talk a lot. I do when I'm ready, but sometimes I don't. So I'll get on here and talk to you guys because we're having, we're having a very serious conversation. We're having, see, you're making me laugh, and that's not good. So, we're having a very serious conversation about what's happening in the world. And today's Martin Luther King Day. So, we're having a conversation on him. So, I think that's a good topic to talk about. Guys, I have a friend. We talk a lot, but we don't call each other a lot. One time we spent 5 hours on the phone talking, and we'll talk about everything, but we talk a lot on the phone, but we'll call each other like twice a year, but we text every day or frequently throughout the week, but talking on the phone, we can talk for a long time. Yeah, I'm just talking. We're on live. So I wish when I'm actually active doing other things, then I could take you guys along with me on live. But I like to talk about these topics because they're very important to me. I like to talk about things that's important. So, talking about Martin Luther King Jr. is very important because it's surprising that a lot of these injustices are still, he paved the way for a lot of things, but a lot of these injustices are still happening today. And so you just have to wonder why. Why he paved the way. We have voting rights, we have integration, you know, there's a lot of diversity and inclusive inclusive. I can't say it now, but I know the word. What do you guys talk about on your live stream? I like to talk about what topics like pop in my head. If I talk about the things that really pop in my head, you guys would really think I'm really quirky and weird because some things that pop in my head that I just, people say I think too much. I'm quite an overthinker, but I like to think about the world and what's happening in the world and how we can help the world become a better place. So that's always been me. I like my facial expressions is because I'm thinking. I do say I'm an overthinker, so I'm here talking to you guys, and sometimes other things are on my brain, so I'm trying to just stay on task because I'm pretty much talking by myself. If you guys would like to come on live or connect so I can talk with other people, if you're not afraid, we can certainly do that. We can talk about the topics together. Your take, my take. Right, you're right. Your brain is, but some people are very much overthinkers. They think about things that will make them, go crazy. So, what is StreamYard? You keep telling me about that. Is that a different app? Is that a different app or is it on YouTube? Is that a different app or is it on YouTube? Okay, Levi. What are you guys talking about on the live? Okay. So does it automatically allow people to join, or do I have to request them? I'll have to research because you two seem like you want to join. So it's kind of like TikTok where it allows people to join you on TikTok. So TikTok allows anyone to, like, you can accept anyone. So would it kind of be like that? I just believe some of you will take the conversation left. Certain things I cannot speak about on live because I can't. Sorry, guys. So I'll look into that. I'll look into StreamYard to see maybe we can, do that. Okay. Relationships are a good topic. I've spoken on relationships before. I am in a relationship, so I've spoken on relationships before. Those are good topics. Relationships topics are very good topics to talk about, but I've also talked about how the dating world is really messed up and how people are manipulators. But maybe another day I'll talk about relationship topics. It's just relationships will always have problems, you know? Relationships will always have, I'm not saying relationships like your relationship, but there'll always be a topic about relationships because relationships are two people together trying to make it work. And it's a struggle because you both have your individual personalities, and sometimes it's hard if it's hard. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I've seen where I've done that before, but no one have joined. It was just waiting for someone to join, and it didn't allow me to start my live without another person joining. So, I've done it before where it went, okay, Levi. We left Bad Boys in 2012. I don't deal with bad boys because we're mature adults here. Okay, I'll try. That's why I always ask if you guys would want to come into my live because you need an email. I need an email to connect you to my live. So I've tried it. And maybe tomorrow's what date? Tomorrow is Tuesday. Let's see. We don't deal with bad boys. We left them in 2012. We left them in our 20s and 30s. I don't like bad boys, hon. I've dealt with my fair share. I was young and stupid, but I'm older and wiser now. Well, I've tried it, Levi, and it wouldn't let me. I've done it and I've waited. It said I needed an email, so I just put it in my comments and no one joined me. So next time I will try. Next time I speak about relationships, I will try, and I hope your voices don't surprise me or I'm like taken aback because my face will let you guys know. And I will end the live quickly. I'm not rude. It's just, if it's just discernment. I'm sorry. But you guys have totally went off the topic. So I guess you guys, okay, the app updated. Okay. I'll check that next time. If I'm able to go on tomorrow, I'll check it. Because, okay. So say you have a squeaky voice. So if your voice will surprise me, if it's a male and you have a squeaky high pitched voice, that will surprise me. I'm not judging anyone. I'm not saying a male cannot have that voice. I'm just saying that will probably surprise me. I hope those sandwiches are good. Yes, I'm just saying in that sense. But I would love to talk about real life topics. I know you like to talk about bad boys, but they're not a part of my agenda. I don't like bad boys, you know. We've all dealt with a Jamaican man. My husband is Jamaican. So we know about those bad boys. We know about all the pain, and me and my friends, we've been through it, but we're out of it now. It's just funny, those things back then. I can't even tell my story times from when I was younger because you guys might look at me differently. Okay. I am probably sometimes I'm up. Sometimes I'm up at night. The weekends I can do nights, but not like right now. I've been on here late sometimes, but sometimes it's pretty hard because I get tired. I thought my topic the other day was very good, but you guys were not on. My topic the other day was about I know a person. Okay. I know Baltimore, Maryland. I've been there one time. And my friend from college was from Baltimore. Um, let's see. I thought my topic was very good the other day, but you guys were not on there. The topic was about a guy who he spends a lot on a girl, but he's not interested in her at all. Like he hasn't shown any interest, but he just spends. Like she'll say, "Oh, my fridge is broken," and he'll be like, "Oh, what type of fridge you want?" And he buy the fridge, and they're not in a relationship or anything. He's just that type of man. And I was saying how in all my days I've never met a guy like that. I've never in my dating years met men like that. Men, to me, if they know that you have it, like have a good career or a good job, they don't really want to spend on you. Which I think, so this is like a topic for another day. So I'll talk about that today. We won't bring that foolishness into Dr. King's topic. That's a topic for another day. Yeah, so you guys are totally switching the topic. So if you're not attracted to a girl like that, why are you spending on her? To me, that don't make sense. He has some type of attraction, but he's probably very timid or intimidated. Men sometimes get intimidated by girls based on how they look. They don't spend any time together. They probably talk on the phone, but that's about it. But that's another topic for another day. It's a good topic. I already spoke about it, so I'll pick another topic. You guys can put in my community page. Right, you're just listen. You listen and you don't judge. Um, but that is a topic for another day because that is it's interesting to me because I've, as beautiful as I am, these men, well, maybe it's based on where I live, but Levi, you're not understanding. They don't hang out together. They don't hang out together. They work together, but they don't hang out. He has not made any advances, no advances, but that's, I don't comprehend him, but he's somebody that I will not try to comprehend, but I know that they're, I guess you can go, if you go try to listen to my other live, because I spoke about it. I don't want to speak about it again. I did have to ask her permission before I even spoke about the topic, because if they see it, they might know who it is. So I asked permission first before I spoke about the topic. But you guys can type on my community page what topics you guys would like to talk about. I talk about worldly stuff. I do talk about relationships. I talk about children, because I have kids, pressures that mothers or parents go through with children. Sometimes things just pop in my head and I'll talk about it. Levi, I don't know. You cannot say that. Probably he might have some type of issue because if I've never been around a guy that you say you're talking like saying, oh, um, my fridge broke, or I need to go get my nails done, and he just pop out money and he's not. I am not single, so, and I don't want to talk about relationships. I don't. I'm in a relationship. I'm married. So that's what I have to do a disclaimer every time I come on my live, because I'm asked constantly if I'm married, if I have children. What else am I asked? Where am I from? So I will have to probably say that every time I enter my live, because I'm asked that question quite often. So I ask, do people really come on YouTube to date? But I can talk about relationships, but to me, a relationship, to each their own, because everyone deal with different things in their relationship, and it's up to you and your partner what you will sustain in your relationship. You know, what you will sustain in your relationship. Relationships are very complicated because it's like I mentioned, it's two people together with different emotions that have to come together. I can talk about my relationship, but it's a marriage. So marriages are complex. I I spoke about how some people are like, they're, I don't know, marriages are complex. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I know, I talked to my friends about it. It's a lot of work. Okay. Are you preaching, or are you trying to help them to not be toxic? To speak confidence. Yeah, I speak many topics. There's a lot of people who are very toxic, but they don't know they're toxic because people have allowed them to be that way their whole lives. So you have to call them out. You know, people, there's a lot of toxic people. Trust me. I know a lot. I know a lot of toxic people, and they don't think they're toxic. But the people that I know, like my closest friends, they're cool people. You know? And I have a lot of friends, as I mentioned, but I'm mostly to myself and my family. So I see my friends not as often as I did when I was younger. Okay. Okay, Levi, if that's what you'd like to be, that's you. I cannot judge you for it. If you think that's a good thing, then you know, that's you, hon. That's what you want to be. That's your message to the world. I always tell the people and my kids and everyone in my life that remember, your life is your story. When you look back and when people are reading your book, when you leave this earth, is that the story you want to portray? You want to leave the earth saying, oh, I was toxic? That's something to gloat over. I think that's what social media do. They gloat over negativity. They gloat over things that are not right. And so to be toxic is not something to gloat over. To be toxic is not something to be proud of. So I teach another message. I teach a more positive message, how you shouldn't be toxic. You should be a better person. You should treat people better. You should treat people how you want to be treated. Toxic is not good. It drains the life out of you. Trust me. I've dealt with a lot of toxic people, toxic men, and the older I get, the older I do not want to be around toxic. I need peace. I need zen. I need to like sit in my house at night, peace, no drama. And that's what life is supposed to be. That is what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was trying to teach, how to be a better person. And I think everyone's life can be a movie, but I don't think toxic is good. I think toxic is bad. And when I'm raising sons, so I don't need I have to portray a more positive life. I cannot have my sons be toxic. No way, because they will be cut off, you know? I always tell them your life is a story. Will you be happy with your actions today? So I'm telling you, Levi, your life is your story. Will you be happy with your actions today? That's all. It's your life, your story. If you want to be toxic, go ahead. You know? And that's what social media has taught. Older men are trying to be toxic and they're not teaching the younger boys how to act. So, what do you mean? What apps in regards to? I'm not throwing shade, hon. I'm speaking reality. I don't think people should say you're throwing shade when you're speaking reality. Oh, I will see if YouTube. You said you won't be talking, Godspeed. You won't be talking. You're just. I'm. You're just okay. I'll try to do both because I'm able to hit the button and then go live together. I've done that multiple times, and I've copied the link and put it in the chat, not the chat, but like in the description of the live, and no one have noticed that description is there to join the live. So I will work on that tomorrow. If I go on live, I should have time to go on live tomorrow in the evening. Um, you don't need a computer. I'm using my phone for this. So you don't need a computer. You need your phone. And what else? I'll try to do your apps, but you guys have to have proper topics, and I can't talk about anything inappropriate because I am married. And also, my app is not about, if I do talk about relationships, it will be a wide thing about relationships. I did have a good weekend. I did have a good weekend. It's been a very relaxing weekend. Did I tell you guys on Saturday I went to Boston? My kids had a trap meet, and my son, the one who's 11 to 12, I think I posted it on Shorts. He came in, he ran the 200. He came in second place overall, but he was ranked at number one because he's a really great runner, but he didn't run his PR. They call it personal record. So he wasn't able to, he didn't get the number one spot. So the guy actually ran my son's PRs. But I mean, my son, he's very good in trap, but he doesn't take it as serious as I do. So that was my weekend. We went to a trap meet on Sunday. It was snowing here. It's been snowing for the past couple days. Today it's a little bit better. But overall, it's a great weekend. We relaxed today because we had a very busy day. We left the house at about what time did we leave? We left at 7 and got there around 9. Yes, I was loud, but he doesn't like for me to scream that loud. And I told him I'll try to stop because he said he doesn't like it. And also I asked him, I said, "Did you hear me when I was when I was screaming?" He said, "No, I didn't hear you. I just heard a crowd, but I didn't specifically hear you." So when I'm outdoor, I'm closest to the railing. Indoor, it's harder to do that. So he hears me better when I'm outdoor. But because I have the phone in my hand, it sounds like I'm screaming a lot. And the weird thing is, I was at a trap meet the other day, and a lady, she's on my team, and I was right next to her. She was screaming for her daughter, and I'm like, "Oh, girl, you're gonna make me very deaf," because she was like, she's so loud, and then she was in my ear. So I get the point about screaming loud. So, but that's what it's about. We're like a track family. I love track, guys. So if you want to know anything about me, I do love track. It's one of my favorite sports. I ran it when I was What do you mean going live is a confidence killer? I ran track when I was a youth, maybe from 9 to high school, 9 to 15. And then at 15, I was over track because it was hard for me to balance school life. So because it was a very demanding sport, but when is something you regret? I regret quitting track in high school. So I guess I'm living through my kids at this time. I'm living my track dream through my kids at this time. What do you mean it's going to kill your confidence? I don't understand, guys. See, you guys have changed the trajectory of our topic today. So that's the thing. I would like for you guys. So I think my live should be shorter because the topic just it just goes left. I start off right and then it goes to something else. So that's the thing about how who was saying, Levi saying I talk a lot. Yes, I can talk a lot, but the topic will go to a different topic. Well, it's fine. When you're having a conversation with people, that's how it works. But I'll talk about my track life and how I love track. I'll probably do a story time. Yeah, but we go, yeah. So I love track and I keep up with all the kids. They might not know me. So this is the thing about me. I'm like a detective, so I will research. So I know a lot about the kids who run track, what their times are, and it's just really crazy why I shouldn't do that, because I don't think their parents would like that I research everything about what races their kid ran, how fast are they, where they rank, blah 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 blah. But it's public, so okay, okay, Godspeed, I get you now. I'm not nervous at all. I don't think I'm nervous. It's just you ask a lot of questions and I have to answer it properly. Remember, I was on live and a guy came in live and he said good morning and I didn't respond fast enough and he cursed me out. And I was taken aback. I had to block him from my lives. He just cursed me out because I was in the middle of talking and he expected me to just stop talking or just stop what I was saying to say good morning or hello. So he said, F my life, which I think people are so disrespectful. You don't know me and you're speaking to me that way. So sometimes I'm taken aback because some men are very catty and I don't know. I understand Godspeed temperament, Levi, because he's been there. So I just have to get used to you now. So, and then there's other people that come on. I do appreciate the compliment, but I feel like beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. You know, I'm more than just beautiful. I'm also a brain too. So I just, but thank God for making me beautiful, right? So, how do you guys think? Answer the question and then we can. How do you guys think about Martin Luther King Jr.? You guys never said anything about it. You guys have spoken about relationships and everything else. And I'll try not to make these expressions on my face. It's just, I'm sorry, guys. It's just, you guys never, what do you think about him? Is he an inspiration to your lives? Or today's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. What do you, can you say something about Martin Luther King Jr.? How has he impacted your life? Do you think he's impacted your life at all? Do you think about what he has done for the United States, for Black people in the US? That's what I meant. So live stream would be much better because you guys sometimes take a long time to type because I'll talk and then the responses are very lagged. And I'm sometimes on to my next thought. I don't take that long on a thought. I skip from topic to topic to topic. So how can he not be an inspiration to you? But if that's how you believe, that's how you believe. So I I get that. If that's how you think, that's how you think. You have to listen to his speeches, especially I Have a Dream. I love that speech. That is my favorite speech, but yep. He says our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. So I feel like people should always speak up. Always speak up for what matters to you. Don't let people speak for you. Speak for yourself. No, I don't remember it word for word. I'm so sorry. I have not been in school in a very long time, so I don't remember it word for word. But I definitely will listen to it tonight. I listened to it earlier, but I don't remember it. I'm older now, so my memory is not as great as it was back then, back when I learned it in school. But he's saying our lives begin to end the day we become silent. The day we become silent about the things that matter. So that's basically saying that we should always speak up for what's right, always speak up for injustice. Today I relaxed and stay home. I stayed home. I didn't do anything. But I wish they had a celebration because I would celebrate him. Yes, I'm excited for the day off. I had a wonderful day. It was a very restful day. I hope everyone had a great day. I relaxed. I enjoyed my day. My weeks are very hectic, so when I get an extra day off, I'm very happy for it. During the school year, I know all the mothers and fathers who have kids, it's a struggle for us. So my day was very good. I had a wonderful day today. I Oh, you're from South Africa? That's nice. What time is it in South Africa? I'm in the USA. I'm in the USA today. Well, I live in the US. I live in the USA. Oh, wow. Are you just getting up or are you getting ready to go to bed? The weather must be beautiful in South Africa. It's cold here. It's very cold here. Oh, it's 7:56 p.m. here. It's 7:56 p.m. here. Wow. It's summer in South Africa, so South Africa is opposite. So South Africa is like Australia, huh? I didn't know that. Wow, interesting. It's summer there, it's winter here, very cold and snowy. It's white as snow out here. It's so cold. Guys, give me 1 minute. I'll be back. I don't think it's hot everywhere in Africa year round. They, I think Mount Kilimanjaro gets snow in Africa. They get snow. And I think Kenya is not so hot like we think. I think they have to wear like little sweatshirts or jackets in Kenya. Yeah, I think Mount Kilimanjaro gets snow. So yeah, Google it. I'm pretty sure of that they have snow up there. It's very cold at the top. They have to climb all the way to the top and it's very cold. I was correct, right? I want to confirm that I was right about Mount Kilimanjaro. Give me a minute, guys. I have to get up for 1 second. Give me a second. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I had to get up for a minute. But yeah, did you find that they get snow in Mount Kilimanjaro? So in South Africa, do you guys get cold weather? So that's what we were asking. Is it cold weather in South Africa? I thought it was warm all around in South Africa too. But he's saying I know it's summertime in Australia now, but I didn't know that South Africa had a different summer than we did. Oh, wow. That's interesting. They're messing with the environment and messing with the animals. Trust me, there's a lot of weird things going on. Okay, I'll look into that. I'll look into that. So Godspeed left us. He disappeared, huh? Oh my goodness. They need to get that under control. That's crazy. That sounds like a major problem. That's happening in South Africa? I thought South Africa was very modernized. Yes, I'll go check it out because that's interesting. That is quite interesting. Because if they're eating all the animals, then the people are going to have a problem. There's going to be a food shortage. Hmm. Crazy times we're living in. Crazy times that we're living in. So, guys, I guess, you know what, Levi, you can't tell me what to do. Okay? Now that's going to be a problem. I know you like to boss people around, but you can't boss me around. I just want you guys to read the quote because it's Martin Luther King Day. And for you guys to just read the quote and look. But I want you guys to read the quote. That's why it's there. Can you see it? I just want you guys to read the top part. I want you to read the quote in the blue. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. You guys are seeing that part, right? And the other one is the moral arc is cut out for because of your comments too. I can't really read that. The moral arc of the universe bends at the elbow of justice. Hi, Abel from Zimbabwe. How are you? There's Mr. Martin, the leader. He was a strong guy. It's just crazy that they unalived him for the way he spoke, for being an activist. But what can we do, huh? What can we do, guys? We just have to celebrate his birthday and just try to live upright the way he lived, try to lead the younger generation the way he led the country and led the generations. That's what we have to try to do. He's making a speech, so he's looking at the crowd. So, Male Bogo, can you tell us more about South Africa? We heard that the lions were messing with the villages and killing the cows and the cats and the goats, the village lions. Is that truly what's happening in South Africa? Levi, what is the joke? So he said that it's not true. Okay. But it's on YouTube. So you're saying everything that we see on YouTube, we shouldn't believe. Welcome back, friend. Welcome back. And we need a lot of females in my life. Come on, females. You guys have to do better. Please. I guess they all went to bed. So, male boho. Okay, it's not true. So male boho is saying no, and maybe he doesn't live in a village, so he doesn't know what's happening. Okay. I didn't see it. I'm just asking. I don't believe everything, but I did not see it. I just was curious. I heard it's happening. Well, we'll talk about that another day because I didn't see it. I didn't research, so I would know nothing about that topic. So we can talk about it another day. I hope it's okay. And I'm mute for real. I'm mute. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? I'm not sure why I'm mute. Can you guys hear me now? How can I find the link? Let's see. I don't think I can send the link. I can't send the link because you have to do it when you enter the chat. I would have to start my live over for that to work. Because the link for the chat is when you enter the chat. It's not when, it's not during the chat. I can't find the link now. So I would have to end the chat and then see if it will work. So we can do a test run quickly because guys, I have to go for tonight because I've been on here for a while and it is a school night. So thank you guys for coming on to my live. I really appreciate you guys. And tomorrow I'll pick a very good topic, but you guys can write in my community what topics you guys would like to discuss. And if it's something that I like, then I will definitely talk about it. But happy Martin Luther King Day. And I hope you guys have a great night. So I will try to test the come on right back just to test if you guys can come onto my live quickly. Okay, so for Levi and Godspeed or whoever wants to try, I'll be right back on into another live. So thank you guys for coming on to this live about Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Hope you guys are inspired by him and try to follow his teachings. Treat everyone as your equal and treat everyone with dignity and respect. And hope you guys have a great night. Bye. Thank you guys for coming on. Talk to you soon.